Is like, okay, well, just come to my island. We've always got some really, messed up shit happening on the island. You just show up there. We take a few pictures of you. That way you can't go run and tell all the normies about how this works, which is just that the entire system's a facade. We get the money when we need the money. We don't actually have to do any work. All we have to do is, bring pizza to the pizza party. You know what I mean?
And logical play out. If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
Tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn, and there are hundreds of victims.
I just finished watching this new video that came out, the Epstein and Steve Bannon interview, and it validated a few of the feelings that I've been having regarding the world at large recently. It kind of puts the two biggest positions that I have in my mind as to what is the truth, how does the world that we live in actually work, it puts those feelings into perspective. Because you're watching an interview with somebody who is obviously involved to whatever degree in whatever sort of elite system we have.
DOJ released millions of documents last week and included Epstein's communication with President Trump, former Prince Andrew, and billionaires, including Elon Musk and Bill Gates.
And then, of course, you have an interviewer like Steve Bannon. Some sources I saw suggest that his intent was to rehabilitate Jeffrey Epstein's image for the media.
This is all premeditated. This has gone through revisions. They even called Jeffrey Epstein the smartest guy in the room.
But if you watch the full video, and I urge you to, I don't know if I can link it in the description, but it's a 2-hour-long interview. You should be able to find it on YouTube. Jeffrey Epstein is saying basically nobody in the world knows how the systems that they function off of run. Nobody knows how they work.
The system is not well understood.
The world banking system, the world currency system, the world monetary system has to be so well understood by the Greenspans of the world and the Bernankes of the world. But those guys have to understand the system perfectly.
No, they don't understand the system.
Now, this may or may not be true, but my theory, obviously, is the elite portion or the wealthy portion of the world, they run systems that aren't complicated at all, but the information about the holistic view of those systems isn't available to the general public. So they can act like it's super complicated, or they can act like it's super, obfuscated, or like it's a special type of club. But really all they have to do is maintain that illusion to have some sense that they're an untouchable class working within the system in ways we couldn't imagine. When in reality, the system doesn't really exist beyond the exoteric view of numbers on spreadsheets, etc., etc. It's all kind of smoke and mirrors. They have access to the printed money. They have access to the cheap debt. They can get more cheap debt at any time because of the connections that they have. Like George Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't in it.
Because they own this place. It's a big club and you ain't in it.
And so this interview is just another example of that sort of framing. But it is very interesting because the other worldview is that the elites and the wealthy do know how the system works and obviously take advantage of knowing how the system works to benefit them and their buddies, and intentionally leave everybody else out. But it kind of confirms either one of these worldviews to me watching this interview. Then there's a third worldview, which is just that this interview is kind of a red herring or intentionally meant to be misleading. This is the era of media that we're living in, and something that I find, I constantly have to keep wrapping my head or keep reminding myself of is that, potentially it's just a complete red herring designed to make you look in a way, designed to make you or give you this false confidence about your view now that you've seen some evidence to corroborate what you thought. But I think generally that seems to be exactly the case in in the sense that Epstein lives this life as a financier, or lives this life as a mathematician, or lives this life as a very intelligent man. But he doesn't know really the answers to what's going on in the world. He doesn't really know how the markets work, nor does he really care, because his actual free time, his actual time is spent on artistic pursuits, as in having these parties and, you know, whatever disgusting, weird, perverted desires he has, and sharing those desires with people potentially involved in some sort of blackmail operation where, you know, if you want to be a part of this in-group, this is what I think, if you want to be a part of this in-group, including Epstein, including all these world leaders, then you have to willingly be compromised on camera. And potentially Jeffrey Epstein's offering kind of the compromat, or offering the solution to getting the compromat on you, is like, okay, well, just come to my island. We've always got some really, you know, messed up shit happening on the island. You just show up there, we take a few pictures of you. That way you can't go run and tell all the normies about how this works, which is just that the entire system's a facade. We get the money when we need the money. We don't actually have to do any work. All we have to do is, you know, bring pizza to the pizza party. You know what I mean? They're not any smarter or more capable than anybody else, really. They just have, it's not that the cream of the crop rises to the top, like people are meant to believe. You know, and this might sound obvious to some, but to some, they would still believe that they could get to a position of eliteness if they work hard enough. In reality, you'll never get to this level. You'll never get past that kind of layer of the system without being compromised, you know? And that seems to be the barrier to entry. In reality, it's on us to do something about, you know? The governments, the world leaders, pretty obvious at this point that they're at least scared to call it out. They have friends or they have buddies that might have been involved in this, or they're compromised themselves. There's one too many inside men, you know? I know I'm not a part of that system, but what could I possibly do to do something about the fact that this is, you know, this isn't right. This is strange behavior from an elite class, you know? There's no cream of the crop anymore. Anybody under the elites is too demoralized to make something of their life, like some sort of Nietzsche's last man, while the elite are off having, you know, diddy parties and shit like that. Anyway, if you have any thoughts on this, or if you watched the interview, I'd love to hear your take down in the comments, because I thought it might have been one of the most interesting things to come out in the last decade. And yeah, I appreciate you watching. Good luck out there.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.